We'll be jumping in to our players right here in the red. We have NamhciR, the Terran, who has tied this series up with some great builds, and viOlet, who lost that last game narrowly with a very creative Roach Nidus Queen attack off one base. Or I guess counter off one base.
Yeah, it was like a reaction. Yeah, that's what I was going to suggest. It was a counter of some type. Didn't really work out too well, though. NamhciR handled it quite well with switching to the Thors there. Very curious on this map here to see how it goes. This is a very rare, well, I don't want to say very rare because it seems like it's been commonplace for players to take a map off of viOlet on their way. But it's not often that we get to see a best-of-1 situation against viOlet here, so I couldn't be more excited.
Absolutely not. viOlet scouting out with that first drone, does not want to get caught by any shenanigans like he has in some previous games. But it looks like the supply depot go down in the base. Will the barracks go down in the base? We'll have to see. He is up to 12 foods. That should be on its way shortly.
Continuing with the SCV production here, got some drones coming out as well. It is kind of interesting, is it not, here that there isn't any other type of building going up right now?
I think we might be seeing a command center first build here out of NamhciR.
That'd be nice.
As he's up to 14 supply, and I mean a 14 or 15 CC on this map. I really kind of like that move. I mean, we're on a big map. The rush distance here is actually huge, so. I don't mind this play at all out of him, but he's going to have to be careful. Look, he's trying to hide that command center in the corner. That's not going to work.
Yes.
Because viOlet's going to go over there and see it. Or will he? We'll have to see. Throwing down the barracks. Yes, of course he's going to see it. He's going to sneak over there and go, hey, look, you're going command center first, and I went hatch first, so I just need to take an early third.
Interesting. Now, how often would you cancel that command center and build 2 more barracks right now?
Oh! And look at viOlet. This is actually something I do in all of my ZVPs. I block the Protoss expansion when they try and go Forge Fast Expand, because one of these tricks, and guys, steal this. If you are a Zerg player, absolutely steal this. If you make a hatch and then cancel that hatch, the hatch leaves 4 spaces of creep underneath it. If you are very quick, you can lay an Evo chamber in that space. Now, the Evo chamber being off creep will eventually die.
Yeah, how much does that cost you in total as well? So, like, you build the hatch and you cancel, you only get 200 back or something.
You get 225 back.
Okay.
And then you spend 75 on the Evo chamber.
So it's 150 total.
So it costs you 150.
Gotcha.
But what does this do? First off, it means that he can't lay his command center there immediately. And second off, the second big thing that this means is that when this dies, it spawns broodlings, guys. And broodlings actually do a lot of damage.
And we saw viOlet use that trick against many a Protoss who likes to do the single cannon at their Forge Expand.
Absolutely. You can get the broodlings from one side, the Zerglings from the other, and quickly take that cannon out. So NamhciR, with a great response here, says, you know what? I'm just going to build a bunker, put some Marines in that, and kill it that way, so that I don't have to worry about, you know, that showing up, those broodlings killing off any of my Marines.
I like it. Safety bunker out here as we're waiting for this Evo chamber to go down. Drones slowly populating at the Zerg base there, and we see the factory going up here for the Terran. So this is a nice little tasty macro build to kind of bite here if you're a young Terran player.
Certainly is. I mean, and this response out of viOlet to seeing that sort of play, phenomenal as well. If you're a Zerg player, do this. I guarantee you that your opponents will not have a good enough response to deal with it as well as NamhciR is. You'll win lots of games. You will be ahead in bases. Of course, viOlet trying to go up says, oh, that's not open. That's a bummer. I guess I can't scout with my broodlings, which would have been awesome. And, oh, look at this.
There we go.
We've got 2 starports again.
Boy, he really thinks that's strong, doesn't he?
So, apparently NamhciR really likes Banshees.
Yeah.
Like I said, I haven't seen a lot of his games in the past, but his games against viOlet here are enough to convince me that Banshees are actually his favorite unit in the game, and that you know, he's just gonna make as many Banshees as he wants.
All right, we're about time here to check some levels here. Maybe let's wait for an SCV transfer before we actually do that. But we can see starports relocating to their add-ons here, and a wall-off being formed down at the expansion to create the super safe expansion.
Absolutely, and a third gas going down already. So I'm curious as to what he's going to do with all of this gas.
Gotta feed the beast, brother.
You know, I mean, you can feed the beast, but you can actually support 2-port Banshee production off just one base. So are we going to see
Cloak?
a battle cruiser transition?
Why isn't he doing cloak? This is so strange, especially with the additional gas and such. I mean,
if we look at the numbers here, cloak is 200, and a Banshee is 150. So from a gas perspective, cloak is 2 Banshees. And if you're planning on getting 6 to 8 Banshees, you actually can just snipe Spore Crawlers and Queens faster than they can be healed, and faster than your Banshees can be killed. And based on that, I don't so much mind him skipping that cloak upgrade. And look at this, going straight for the armory again. Loves that Thor Banshee composition, and that's actually going to be very effective against the Mutalisks, which viOlet looks like he's going for.
oh boy, look at that. Spire on its way up there. And look at this, Gwin. Cloak just started for the
Oh, so he is getting cloak this game.
Yeah, and this could be a little bit of a curveball here, but we do see plenty of Spore Crawlers going up, so it's really not going to make that much of a difference at the end of the day until those spores end up going down. And maybe that's what's going to put him over the top, Gwin. You know, the last 2 rounds we saw him bring out so many of these Banshees here without cloak, and he just couldn't get over that hump. You know, it seemed like viOlet was able to get enough Queens out to deal with it. And we saw in the first game it was like 6, and in the second game it was like, it had to have been at least 10 that he went through. You know, not 10 at a time, but like 4 out there being at a time. This will be interesting to see the timing on this Banshee arrival here. We do see 2 less than usual in exchange for that cloak, buddy.
Absolutely, and 10 Mutalisks in production right now, about to pop. That Flyer Carapace in production, so it looks like viOlet has a read on what his opponent is doing. Says, I'm going to get that Carapace upgrade because you are getting Thors. But look at this, these Banshees sneaking into the undefended mineral line, doing huge damage to these drones. And the cloak, I'm assuming, no, he does not have cloak finished yet. It's about to finish, losing a Banshee, losing a second Banshee as well. A third will go down, and all the Banshees go down.
Right when cloak finishes, and that was a good example of reasoning to wait for your timing, folks. That engagement would have gone exactly, I mean, it would have gone the other way if he would have waited 10 more seconds.
Absolutely. The only advantage that NamhciR has from that is that viOlet does not know cloak is finished. Single Thor coming in, that's going to get focused down so fast, pulling the SCVs to repair. This is a great move. And it looks like he'll get it out in time to have it survive. And those Banshees, or those Mutalisks, need to be pretty careful. No, it looks like the Thor might, no? That repair finally coming in.
Yeah, that was really close here. I mean, let's do some numbers here. Was that 8 Mutas versus 1 Thor being repaired?
It was 11 Mutas versus 1 Thor being repaired.
Talk about King and talk about unable to get over the hump there. Second Thor is going to join the party here and start taking on these Mutas as well. And that 1 Thor is going to stay up. Look at that. He started focusing all the SCVs down, and it looks like NamhciR's supplies plummeted because he lost so many of the SCVs.
Yeah, look at that. 20 workers killed for viOlet. So with that Thor repair, of course, the bounce from the Mutalisk glaive attack is going to hit those SCVs, taking out a ton of them. And I would say that you know, viOlet in a definite lead after that move. That was a great engagement for him, deciding to go ahead and do that. All right, and you know, back in viOlet's base, we see he's got his third up. He's just mining gas there, because of course Zerg wants those gas super fast, especially if you're going for this mass Banshee style. But it looks like NamhciR getting every upgrade in the book. He's got Infernal Pre-Igniter, of course, that is Blue Flame for his Hellions. Stim Pack on the way as well, getting some missile turrets to fend off his boundaries. And we're going to see a very interesting composition out of him. We're going to see Banshee, Marine, Marauder, Blue Flame, Hellion, Thor. I mean,
just pull out the unit list, brother.
Let's I mean, the only thing he's missing here are Ravens and Cattle Bruisers.
Right. And
I would love to see some battle cruisers in here, maybe with all the SCVs pulled in a repair attempt. The Banshee's gonna sneak in here, do a little bit more damage, and where are the Thors? Not doing much of anything. Finally one coming out.
Very slow Sally out there. Tons of add-ons about to add on here for the Terran, as well as plenty of upgrades here for the Zerg, as viOlet is able to maintain map control with his mobile units. NamhciR just going to try to dig in for the long haul here on this 2-base plan, and we've seen this go down this way before here, Gwin, where we get pretty introverted as a Terran, and against viOlet, man, that's just a cue to go crazy macro.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, viOlet, any good Zerg in reality is a player that you cannot let sit around for too long. And that's one of those things that as a Zerg player, if your Terran opponent does something like this, where they are sitting in their base with Thors and missile turrets and lots of unit producing structures like starports that they are not really using, that is your cue. Okay, let me take an extra base. Let me get those upgrades that I know won't kick in until much, much later. Because those are the things, of course, that are going to help you win in that late game scenario. And you have the luxury and the time to go get them. viOlet right now with a great spread of units all over the map. He's got the +1 Carapace, +1 attack just finishing up for his melee. 2-2 started immediately. Baneling speed about to finish. If we jump to that Spire, he has the +1 Carapace on the way, but no other upgrades for his Spire yet. Looks like he's just favoring getting more Banelings.
Well, there ain't nothing wrong with Mo Banelings, baby. That's one of my favorite units in the game. But we can see big boon to the Zerg economy is going to come up here as that 4th is about ready to be added. And this is indeed a good time for the Terran to start making a move outward here. You can see a great unit composition here. Plenty of SCVs to repair these Thors. And you know what? Is that just everything, or did he pull? What ratio of workers did he pull here?
Oh, and look at this. A great counterattack by viOlet. Gonna sneak in here and kill so many SCVs with that, forcing the Terran to pull back. These Mutilas taking some huge damage. Need to be careful about those Thors. And to answer your question about the ratio of what you decide to pull, usually what Terran will do is they have practiced this build, and they know I need this much production to build all the production and produce out of it. But once I have all those facilities up, and I don't need to continue building them, I only need a certain amount of production to sustain out of the certain buildings that I'm going to rally.
All right,
and
slow Terran force here, pushing to the front side of the map. Mutilas are going to go ahead and harass the factory, though. That Thor is going to try to take it on. Meanwhile, another engagement going on to the 3rd in the Zerg base.
And that's so many Banelings rolling in. Even if those kill the Thors, that will be a cost-effective trade.
Ooh. And they make the right choice here as the Banelings are going to go ahead and head through, try to hit these drones. But those things are all cooked, buddy. And you can see NamhciR with the very low supply here, down to just 70 supply to viOlet's 121 at this point. That was definitely chewed up quickly. I'm not sure that that 3rd is going to last.
Absolutely not. I mean, with that many Banshees, and they've got Cloak, he needs to... Oh, and the clutch Cloak. But there's an Overseer.
Yeah, nice.
Oh, viOlet, you are so good.
Yeah. He's going to be able to drop all of these Banshees here, buddy. Very nice. Oh, he's even got the 2nd Overseer to spot.
GG, well played out of NamhciR. Knows how hard that is to hold. Knows how many Zergs he has taken their ladder points.
I love how quickly viOlet can just swing a game like that. You think you're sitting pretty, man, and then 5 minutes later you just get chewed up.